Afternoon, everyone. Wanted to get another video out. Had a few wee chats with a few people in the comments section, chatting about some players and stuff like that, guys. And it just reminded me, I've not kind of said it in the last couple of videos, but please, guys, if you're watching the videos, you like what you hear, please subscribe, like, share, comment, interact with me, all that good stuff, and I'll do my best to, keep everything flowing. The title of this video, guys, is going to be called Sleeping Giants, okay? So what we're looking at is 3 players that I'm going to highlight to you as a sleeping giant, okay? And they'll be quite obvious when you see them highlighted, okay? But they're just sitting in really interesting positions right now, and they've got good back history, and let's just get stuck into it. The first guy I wanted to talk to you about was the hottest prospect this time last year in European football. SMS himself, big Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, okay? Now, at the moment, he's trading at £3.55. He's been a little bit lower recently. It's not the best price you could have ever bought him for, but over the last year, guys, the graph doesn't quite go the full way, but he really peaked up and he was hovering about £4, £4.10, all the way through from really this time last year into the World Cup, and he did quite well in the World Cup. Serbia didn't do that great. I think he had 1 or 2 matches where he looked decent, but he was linked with everyone. Man United 80 million, Real Madrid 100 million, AC Milan, Juventus, Bayern Munich, all the big clubs were linked with him. Does it tell you how tall he is? He's bloody huge anyway, 191 centimetres, he's a tall man, verging on 2 metres, and he's a sleeping giant right now. He stayed at Lazio. He's not had the best of seasons this season, but you quite find... What my kind of inspiration for this, guys, was listening to the radio, really, and them talking about Felipe Anderson. And I remember for the last couple of years, Felipe Anderson's been at Lazio as well, coincidence. And he'd been linked with Man United at one point, been linked with Liverpool, a lot of different clubs at the time he was at Lazio, and never really went anywhere. And then he's went to West Ham. They paid a lot of money for him, and he's hit the ground running. He's became a good transfer. And you find that happens in football, that for a period of time, people like SMS here, or even Felipe Anderson, I'm sure you could name 1 or 2 yourself, they're the hottest thing going. Everyone's looking at them, everyone's interested, and then all of a sudden you don't hear from them again. The interest goes away, one reason or another, and then they maybe resurface again at a West Ham or at Atletico Madrid or something like this, and they go again. But Savic, I think he's a sleeping giant. I think just about covers it. The guy is a giant, and for his price, £3.55, he's sitting at a pretty good value right now. If you look at the last year, it's pretty much round about the lowest he's been since the World Cup. So he's sitting at a really good place right now. If you have a look at some of our tools as a trader here, if you look at whoscored.com, he's still Lazio's second best rated player. He's just behind Lucas Leiva, who is, I think he's 47 this year or something. So he's pretty much their most influential player who's worth anything. He's still 23. As you can see in the World Cup, average rating 6.6 over 3 games. He did okay when I watched him. Serie A this year, he's played 20 starts, averaging 7.2, 3 goals, 1 assist, almost 3 shots a game. He tackles, he dribbles, he does quite a lot. Europa League, Lazio made 3 starts, 1 off the bench, didn't do very much. Nations League for Serbia, not doing very much. So his domestic form for Lazio has probably been quite stable, but what he's missing is those goals that he was scoring last season. If we have a look at him last season, I've got this all laid out for Milinkovic. Last year he scored 12 goals and got 8 assists in the league, alone. Cup last year, International Europa League last season, 2 goals, 3 assists in Europe. National team, World Cup, no assists or anything, but yeah. So he had a much better season last year. He's still young enough to keep progressing and keep moving himself on. So this guy could be very, part of them being a sleeping giant, he could be very easily on his way to the Premier League come the summer. I would say he's almost certainly going to be moving this summer anyway. Lazio are a selling club. If we have a look at Lazio, first of all, let's look at their fixtures coming up. Okay, if you're looking at a kind of term hold, okay, so the Lazio versus Sevilla in the Europa League, that game could go anyway. Sevilla, as we know, love the Europa League. Lazio are quite solid in Europe anyway. So they've got Empoli at home, that's tomorrow. Depending on whether he plays or not, he's just coming off a suspension. Then we've got Sevilla, we've got Genoa away, we've got Sevilla again, we've then got AC Milan in the Cup, so you can disregard that. It's not going to do anything for you in terms of match day bonuses or anything. But we then get the Rome derby, and then we get the match with Fiorentina, and then you'd be looking pretty much between those two games, if you bought them right now, you would need to sell them if you just want to hold for match day bonuses, okay? But if you're thinking longer term, you're looking towards the summer and where can this guy go, then after that Rome derby, it's pretty much uphill. You've then got Parma at home. Inter's a 50-50 match, but you've still got Spal, you've still got Sassuolo, you've still got Chievo, you've still got Cagliari, and you've still got Bologna. Teams that are, susceptible to losing to Lazio. Let's say they're not in the same, the teams you'd expect Lazio to win. If you have a look at the league table, they're going quite strong. They're fighting for European spots again. 31 goals scored, 25 down. They're not flying on all cylinders, but they're going to be competitive for the rest of the season. And especially if they don't fall into those European spots, I promise you this, that Milinkovic-Savic, I don't know who his agent will be, or who it is, but if they don't get into Europe, I promise you it'll probably end up being Mino Raiola or Jorge Mendes or something like this, and he'll go to Juventus, he'll go to Man United, he'll make a big move in Chelsea, probably not Man City, he'll make a big move in the summer, especially if they don't clinch that European spot. So he's 100% fits the bill of what we'd call a sleeping giant. Okay, the second one I wanted to chat to you about is maybe a little bit more left field, and you'll see his name as I type it in here. And his name is Jerome Boateng. Okay, so I think you'll all know who he is. German international, World Cup winner, centre half for Bayern Munich. There was a lot of rumours in the summer he was going to be leaving. He was very close to leaving for Man United. I think there was more than one club, maybe Real Madrid were interested as well, but there was a lot of noise, and you can see the spikes he was going through here, up to £1.80, between £1.60 and £1.80. Pardon me, when he was going through there. He's pretty much, it sounded like at the time he was saying, my time in Germany is done, I need to move on. If you're big football fans, you'll know he had a stint at Man City just as all the money came in. He didn't really make it, so he's had experience of English football before. And when it was all going on last year, I was thinking to myself, this could be a Paul Pogba situation. He comes back to Man City on big money, because what Man City are crying out for is a fit Vincent Kompany, and Boateng could easily fill that mould. He could easily become that captain for Man City at the back. He's a good footballer, he's tall, he's strong, all this sort of stuff they look for in a player. But if we have a look at him this season, he's been he's had a wee injury there. He's very much been in the fold still. He's still playing. He goes through little spells of maybe getting rested. Maybe he's not on side with Kovac as much, But he's still a top drawer player. At 30 years old, a centre half, clubs would queue up for him, And at the price he's at now, he is an absolute bargain. We'll have a look at him on who's scored, and we'll see exactly how he's been rated out, and you can see what I'm talking about. But I don't think I need to tell you too much about Boateng anyway, because he's a relatively household name when it comes to international football. We all know who he is and what he's about. Bayern Munich against Liverpool in the Champions League, if they progress and Liverpool get knocked out, then he's got short-term value. Sorry guys, I'm just waiting for my phone to catch up with me. He's got added value there with the Champions League run. They're obviously fighting to get back to top spot, knock Dortmund off, so there's a lot for them to play with in the short term. So if we have a look at the ratings here, he's not in the top little section. He's hovering at 6.78, and if we zoom right into him, you'll probably be able to see why. 5.8 in the Champions League. He's also had a mare, 6 against Hoffenheim. So he's got some low rankings in his recent form that will pull that down a little bit. But normally he's a 7.2. Got an assist against us, 7.3. And if we have a look at him again over here, 2 seconds, squad. Oh, sorry, wrong man. Sorry. Yeah. He's hovering around, being at Bayern Munich for, he's getting on 10 years now, so he will be looking to be making a move. And in my opinion, at least, it was so close to moving last summer. If there wasn't at least the noises he's going to move this summer, I would be very surprised. Obviously, I would expect him to move, but if there's not at least those links, having another look at his age there, being 30, Man City is probably an unlikely destination. But there's plenty of people who will take a 30-year-old defender in the top brackets of European football. And so you can see their fixtures. Hertha, don't worry about that, it's the cup. Schalke, Augsburg, Liverpool, Hertha again in the league, Gladbach, Wolfsburg. They're competitive fixtures they can be making an impact in. And for the price he sits at on the index now, If we just hop back and we find him, he's hovering in at £1.36, okay? And like I always like to do, guys, I always like to compare and contrast, okay? So he's at £1.36. If we look at defenders in the top 200, okay, and we contrast and compare, Koulibaly's probably a good one. Koulibaly's about the same age. I think he's late 20s. He's 3 years younger than me. I'm 30. He's 27. Okay, so he's a wee bit younger. Wow, that's interesting. Sleeping Giants. I maybe should have been speaking about Koulibaly here. He's right on the slope. He's younger. He'll probably be making a move somewhere. Yeah. You can kind of tie both of them together then, guys. Koulibaly and Boateng. Koulibaly's got shorter term previous for this. Let's have a quick look at Napoli while we're talking about this. Sorry. Let's have a quick look, because we're comparing them with Boateng. Boateng still got Champions League football to look forward to this season. How, whether they get past Liverpool or not is another matter. Fighting for the title. Solid 7 rating plus centre half and a top team. Let's have a look at Napoli. Let's just see. Fixtures coming up. So they've got Zurich in the Europa League. Wow, they should really run through this. Tough league fixtures still. Sorry, I'll ding it out 2 seconds. Some strong league fixtures right after Europe, but there'll also be more Europa League slots to come in after this, And I think he'll be very close to leaving in the summer also. Let's have a look at who's scored. Just while we're at it, guys, I'm looking at this the same time as you guys are seeing it. But it was quite interesting to see his price there below £3. I might actually need to go buy some of him. Because he is an attractive player. He's linked again with very strongly with like your Man Uniteds and Chelsea's. 7.15 average rating. He's played more. He's got 2 assists, which is great for a defender. Champions League didn't play as great, but hey ho. He's been playing every game. He had a red card. Yeah. Another assist. Just 2 of them had an assist. So yeah, let's tie both of them together, guys. Koulibaly, Boateng. But again, Koulibaly's in the Europa League. Hummels in the Champions League. So, Boateng. So the further you get in the Champions League, the more likely you're going to get treble match days and this type of thing as well, okay? But as we scroll down, Lucas Digne, £2.69. Harry Maguire, £2.54. Again, Maguire's young and English, so he'll have that premium, okay? But even like Eder Militao here, he's a young defender, a bit of a prospect a lot of people are talking about from Porto. So he's going to have a bit of a premium on him. But in terms of your short term, this Eder Militao, he's not playing in the Bundesliga. He's not eligible for bonuses week in, week out. So it's another thing to consider, guys, is how often are these players potentially going to give you something back for the money you're putting in on holding on them. Even Nicolas Sula, who's is the same everything, is £2.23. He's much less likely to have a transfer, especially a monumental transfer to a big European giant of a club. And he's comfortably more expensive. That's a great comparison right there. Andreas Christensen, even Dayot Upamecano, £2.4. There's a big difference there, And then the last one, guys, I wanted to kind of bring to you, highlight to you, remind you of, whatever you want to call it, is Marco Verratti. Okay, now Marco Verratti has been on everyone's radar for a long time. And I'm just looking at this guy, and he's had a bit of an injury this season. He's not played as much, but again, he's someone who, come this summer, he's going to be linked with clubs. He's at PSG now, and let's have a look at him. He's been at PSG, I want to say, a very long time. He left there from he played for Pescarara. I can't say their name. Pescara. Won the Serie B, was dubbed like the new Pirlo and all that. Ancelotti got the PSG job and snapped him up right away before he got a chance to play Serie A. So he's been there a fair while. I know that certainly, and we all know who he is. He's Italy's probably most solid midfielder. Yeah, he's got a wee injury there now, as I was saying. He's been there since 2012, so he's going on to his 6th and 7th year. And yeah, he's a really consistent performer. He's a really solid guy. He is injured now, which is probably part of the reason he's below that £3 mark. He's nice and cheap. But again, come the summer, Man United, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Juventus, all these teams, Real Madrid possibly, all these teams will be looking at somebody like Marco Verratti, box-to-box midfielder, scores, tackles, does all these types of things. PSG still have the Champions League in front of them as well if he comes back from injury in time for the Man United game, which I do believe is questionable for the first leg. I believe they're looking at the second leg from coming back. So even if you're to hang off on him a little bit longer, let's say get the Man United game out the way, when people see he doesn't play, he'll take another price dip. You then get Saint Etienne, Montpellier, Nîmes, Cannes, 4 very great games for PSG if you're holding players in them. And then you go into the second leg as Man United and anything can happen. Plays well, then it's like, oh, is he going to move? Is he, he's looking great again? All that type of stuff. So definitely another sleeping giant. And the main reason for Marco Verratti is, number one, I love the guy. I think he's a fantastic player. But again, if you just compare and contrast with other players that offer the same thing. So he's 26. He's you'd call a prime midfielder. He's not 19. He's not 34. Midfielder, sorry. He's right in that sort of ballpark. So even if you look at players that are over that £3 mark, Marcelo Brozovic, there's no way he is, worth more to anyone really, especially a fit Marco Verratti. You've got Brozovic there. Chukwueze, he's been linked to a lot of teams, but Ndombele, Leon, he's been linked to people, I'm just trying to see. Harvey Barnes, he's come out of the Championship, been brought back on loan, he's playing with Leicester, There's players here that are valued much, much higher. Adrien Rabiot is a good one. We know he's going to be leaving in the summer. That's not really much of a given. But there's players that are, £2.56 versus Brozovic. I think is quite a good one. Brozovic, where did they go? A full pound, more. It's just, it's not comparable, So again, guys, it's just about seeing the crowd coming. It's just about seeing them getting back on. Oh, there's that guy fit again. He's playing. Look at the fixtures that PSG have. Even if we dive into the WhoScored.com, we'll have a look at his rating and his numbers. See what he's been doing this year. He's been fit. And I'll tell you what, after this, I'll go the extra mile for you. Okay, 2 seconds as soon as I get this to show me what I want to see first. So let's have a look at PSG. Marco Verratti. Marco 6.93. Okay, so just below that magic 7. 12 games this season. Yeah, injuries kind of got him a little bit. Champions League, played well. Nations League, latest matches. So we know the last game played, yeah, must have got injured and came off. It was a 9-0 win, But yeah, when he is playing, 7.17, 7.5. Strasbourg game, Bordeaux game, not too great. 7 against Liverpool, big games, he does well. He pulls it out, and I say, I'm not telling you about people, guys. I'm not unearthing gems that you've not heard of. People like, oh, who's this player? These 3 guys, I'm calling them sleeping giants for a reason. They're people who you know who they are, and they're quite likely to get some sort of movement. But we've also stumbled across a little gem, guys, when we've been doing this, and that was Koulibaly. So I'm just going to get him back onto my screen so that I don't forget about him, because the price he's at now is pretty attractive, below £3. It's been a while since he's been below £3. There we go. It has been a good while. 1 month. Best part of 2 months he's been over that £3 mark easily. But yeah, I was going to go the extra mile for you. Okay, so what we then do is we jump onto the interweb. Marco Verratti. Injury. Boom. News. Injuries, bad luck, PSG can cope. Marco Verratti, a doubt for the clash. Okay, so he might make the first leg. Injury update, midfield worries. 3 days ago, set to be fit. There we go. Boom, here we go. Set to be fit for Champions League clash. Ready to return to training. This was 3 days ago. Tuchel told reporters back in training next week. 3 days ago. Cool. So this guy, as I say, I didn't even do that little bit, the last little bit of research, guys. Normally leave stuff like that to somebody I'm going to actually maybe make a move on. But now that I even see that, and as I'm speaking to you now, Verratti. Let's look a little bit closer at his move. Oh yeah, sorry. Go. Come on, phone. Go. Technology. Yeah. Guy's comfortably worth more than £2.56. But again, I see Verratti as a longer hold. I don't see him, short term, you'll get a bounce off him when he comes back to playing and people see, oh, he's fit again and oh, he's going to play against Man United. You get a little bump off him, you might get back up to that £3 mark. Something like this. He's already rock bottomed at 2.16. But the guy's got much more in him, he's got much more in him. £3 plus, no problem. For a player like this. So it really depends on the length of hold that you're after, you know, how long you're wanting to be taking these guys on board for and what you're actually looking to do. But Milinkovic, Savic, Koulibaly, Boateng, I like both of them. I'm probably going to buy some Koulibaly if I'm honest, just because I see how cheap he is, and the run that Napoli have got in the Europa League, if they've got Zurich to play, they should walk all over them. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not in any rush right now to buy anyone. Like before, guys, about a few weeks ago, I'm loving the price of Ronaldo again. You know, the guy, I don't know why he keeps going through these peaks and troughs, but the guy's guaranteed profit. You know, he's not going to, you can see the trend is there, he's not going to go below £9. He's comfortably a £10 player for his media. And, you know, when he's on form, especially in the Champions League, comes back on. I know it's a tough tie at Atletico Madrid. It's not exactly a team Ronaldo's unsure of or doesn't know anything about, you know, but the guy's, he's solid money, and the amount he fluctuates, it must be frustrating when you buy him at £10 and you see him drop down. You must be pulling your hair out. But yeah, he always catches my eye. Ronaldo is somebody who I'm always looking at, amongst a few other players. But guys, thanks for tuning in and listening today. Comment away, get involved, subscribe. If you find me on Twitter, retweet, all that good stuff, guys, and I'll chat to you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.